I think we're a band we constantly evolve, you know, because we get sick of ourselves really quick. We see a videotape of us playing live a month ago and, you know, we sort of cringe.
Their dedication to improvement, both in their music and in their personal lives, allows the Newsboys to remain one of Christian rock's most influential bands over the last 10 years.
Some bands make a record and they feel like, wow, how am I going to beat that? Or how am I going to, you know, they feel like they really excelled. We haven't had that feeling yet.
While their alternative sound pulls in a strong crossover audience, it's the insight in their lyrics that defines these thoughtful, world-renowned rockers, as evident in their latest album, Step Up to the Microphone.
Our music stems a lot from conversations that we have together on the bus, on the road. We spend a lot of time together, and of late, especially in the last couple of years, we've been reading a whole lot more.
Like C.S. Lewis,
Philip Yancey,
also Francis Schaeffer.
And we'll discuss the things we've read and get excited about them, and start seeing how these things have been have affected our lives. And of course, that's what artists do. They express what they're going through and how they see the world, and our worldview is through the eyes of Christ, let's hope. And so, so these things that we've been reading and talking about end up on our records.
Early on in their career, they had very simple messages. You know, their songs had lyrics like "Staying Up for Jesus," "I've Got the Joy," and now, 10 years later, I'm seeing them explore some of the things that, you know, affect us.
You know, young people are not dumb. They're looking for reality. They're looking for answers. Who is this God? Who is this Jesus that walked the earth? Why do I believe in him and not in Muhammad or Buddha? What is it? And I think once we start to realize what we believe, why we believe it, it makes for a stronger Christian.
Striving to be stronger Christians has been a lifelong journey for the Newsboys, all of whom come from solid religious backgrounds. But it hasn't been easy.
One of the hardest things for a group of guys to do is to be able to talk about how they feel about things.
I was nearly ashamed of my dad when I was probably 15, 16 years old because of him being a pastor. And I said to him one time, I got fed up, and I said, what are you doing this for? You know, you're going out in the middle of Australia preaching to Aborigines and, you know, feeding people and that. What does it all come, you know, what does it come to? And, you know, I remember him saying, this is for the kingdom. And just this heaviness fell on me. And then I think that was a turning point on one of them trips where I started to look at them and I respected them because I knew that if these guys are giving up everything for this God and this cause, then I've got to look into it further than that.
I think that's the cool thing about the band and what we've been going through the last couple of years is that we've had to go back and ask ourselves why we believe what we believe, because a lot of us were in similar situations.
Little brother, little sister, underwater we go, out of our ordinary selves, stepping out to what the people say.
These guys are they're great guys, and I think people wonder that sometimes with artists, you know, is it a real thing or is it just a game, you know? And I can honestly say that all of these guys are very true to what they, you know, represent.
I travel with them a lot, and I haven't noticed any particular change. They remain to be, in my eyes anyway, just honest, humble, practical, easy to get on with guys.
The Newsboys remain a tight-knit group of very special friends, which perhaps explains much of their success.
We're definitely a team, and I think that's what makes it good, because if you got one of us separately, you know, we're not nearly as strong as you know, the five put together, and then it makes this other entity, you know. And I think that comes across on the stage.
It seems like everything we do for fun in the band, we all do together. I mean, dirt biking is probably one of the best things because it's parallels so much with what we go through in life. This past weekend, I went on a trip. So we went about 75 miles through Colorado. And when I got stuck in a few parts, you know, our crew guy, Steve, came back to help me make it up the last part, and I was just getting exhausted. I was feeling like I was gonna collapse, you know? And like the more I thought of it after, you know, thinking of the trip, I was like, man, this is like this parallels so much to what our band is like when one guy's not doing good, the others are always there to help him, and to help him get through tough spots, or if we're in the studio and I'm not, I'm messing something up, and Pete's there to help me guide through a track of a song, it's so great. I think it's really good.
And it is this camaraderie that helps the Newsboys stay rooted in humility.
Look at me, I'm not really, I'm not your rock star type. I feel like a youth group leader. It keeps me on the ground,
You think, well, who am I? Who are we to be role models? It's like, I'm just an ordinary guy, just like the guy on the street, but I've happened to be placed in this situation.
But the Newsboys are role models to millions of kids all over the world, and it's a responsibility they take very seriously.
In some ways, it's very rewarding being a role model, because you don't realize how easy it is to make a fan's week just by saying a simple hello. It's a great feeling.
I think as people put in this situation, we need to say, okay, well, we have to set a standard for our lives.
And they have set standards, which they adhere to, despite the temptations in their daily lives, in the apparent paradox between their look and their lifestyle.
Nothing is necessarily sort of planned out and, I'm going to look like this to reach this generation or something. I think it's just the way we are. We're a part of this generation.
And as part of their generation, their music speaks directly to their generation, and their message is pure and simple.
When you start falling in love with Christ, you start falling in love with his creation and with his people, with humanity.
There's nothing you can do to make God love you more, and there's nothing you can do to make him love you less.
Even, as Christians, the bigger the house, the better the car, the 2 cars in the boat, we seem to see that as godly even, to be blessed, and it is. But that's not the true heart of God. The true heart of God is humility and grace and mercy and compassion for your fellow man.
He tells us to go and preach the gospel to all men, and to be a light to the world, and you can't do that if you're, staying in your own little cliques.
And so I would like to challenge kids to just look a little more outward, and look for those windows of opportunity to give of yourself, of your time, and of your money. I would like to encourage kids to do that a little more.
This is something that really does impact the youth. Step out of their circle and to sort of, see the world in under a different light.
Let it shine before all men. Let them see good works in men. Let them glorify the Lord.
They've been together for over 10 years, traveled the world, produced 7 albums, 2 gold albums, earned 3 Grammy nominations, and played before one of the largest crowds ever to see a Christian rock concert. Yet despite all their success, the Newsboys remain steadfast in their conviction to their faith, their fans, and their music.
It's always a challenge, and there's always somewhere to go. You're never really standing still in your walk with Christ.
To some people, we are entertainment. To some people, we are church when we have a show. To some people, we're a great band who plays music, that they enjoy.
It's always evolving. I think as Christians, we're evolving. We sort of challenge each other on that, and as musicians and songwriters, it's always evolving. It's, you stop learning when you're dead,